Hey, and welcome to Where Music Meets the Soul. I am here today with Brett Dennen, and I describe you as a singer-songwriter, but my favorite thing was you put watercolor painter after that. So what's watercolor? How did you get into that?
Well, honestly, I've been into painting and drawing longer than I've been into playing music, and I've always tried to keep it going. And when you tour and you make your living playing music, traveling, it's really hard to keep a visually creative life going unless it's something like watercolor. Something that you can easily slip into a suitcase, roll up the brushes.
I'm excited
put the
because
lid on the paints and just put the whole thing in your suitcase and then break it out backstage or on a tour bus or wherever.
I want to see you do it on stage.
Well, to do it on stage would be really cool. The way to do it, though, you'd have to have some kind of a projector because watercolor works with a lot of liquid sloshing around and rolling around the paper. So you'd need a camera facing straight down because you got to paint level.
Right.
Camera straight down and then project it. But you could project it really big
on the ceiling,
or on the behind you. And,
yeah.
I'm a little afraid of doing that though because I've done YouTube videos of myself painting watercolor, and I've noticed that like my face does some strange things while I do it. There's a lot of contortions, lip, tongue, cheek movements. That's like I don't know if people really need this.
You never want to look at yourself in the mirror while you're intensely deciding something, because you look like you're like waiting for the other shoe to drop.
I could put a mask on, maybe.
Yeah, well, that's true, but I just think it's impressive because when I ran House of Blues, we used to bring this guy named A. Stone up, and he would be my opening guy for the thing, and we would do it, and then we'd raise money for charity and auction it off. But you're right. He wasn't the performer. He was actually...
Well, and he probably did a painting on an easel, right? So he can turn his back to the crowd, so he can make whatever faces he wants while painting.
But you were explaining, because a lot of the time in the 70s and 80s, we used to use the watercolor on these overhead projectors. And that's how you got that cool, bubbly feeling on the stage, and we would project it on it, and people had no idea what we were doing. And it was really just your hand on like a mat, pushing water around.
Moving water around.
And then with all the different colors, you would have it. So we talked earlier about you have 8 and probably 9 because someone made an extra album for you.
Yeah, well, I made it, but it was originally released.
Do you produce your own music?
Some of the time, yeah. I'd say the majority of the time I've seeked out different producers. But I've made.
But do you work with a record label company?
I have been signed to like the tiniest independent labels, and I've been signed to the biggest major labels. I've done it all. And
what advice would you give to someone starting now?
I would say it's all about it having some kind of a partner. So if you want to go independent, that's beautiful, but you need some kind of a partner. There's got to be someone who's like being a bullhorn for you and making connections.
That makes a lot of sense, because
if it's not a label, it's going to be something else. I don't know who, but somebody.
Because the old model was you would come up with songs and they would advance you $1 million, and then you'd work off 10 years and never pay the $1 million off. And then, but nowadays, like my friend Mac 10, like he owns all his own music. And a lot of these performers, like Eddie Money owns their own music. I take it you own your own music?
That's right.
And what would you advise someone coming in that's like RCA, these big, huge corporations that come in? It's kind of like the Live Nation 360 deal.
I would say it's different. I would say it's different now. I would say the power now is not necessarily owning your own music, because what does that even mean? You're not. If a song gets played on the radio or played on a streaming service, it doesn't generate the same kind of money that it did in the days when you were talking about when big record.
But you're an artist. You're not doing this to make money. Money is a byproduct of what you do.
Right, but okay, but if there's a scenario where someone could come along and say, "Look, we want to be partners with you. We'll we're going to fund you.
Right.
Then, and they say, in return, we want to own the rights to be able to make the money off your music. You might get those rights back after a said number of years or whatever, but it might allow you to live the lifestyle of an artist and to quit your day job. And then,
can you bring yourself back to when in 2004 when you did your first album? Can you bring you back? You remember everything about it?
Yeah, I remember everything about it.
Well, tell us what the feeling was, because 2004 you were what, 20
I
something
was
years
really lucky. I was luckier than most, I would say, because a lot of people I know tried and tried, banged their head against the wall, did a lot of work to get their music heard. I was really lucky. A lot of things happened. One is my friend's mom offered to let me record in their home studio in Ojai. So I did that, and that became everything I recorded there was my first album. And then subsequently she said, I want to help you get going. And she managed to hook me up with a couple of gigs where there were just the right people were there. I played a free show in a park in Ojai, and there was at Libby Bowl. There was, or Libby Park actually, it was right by the fountain, and there was somebody there. I had these burned CDs that I had drawn on with the Sharpie, and she took it. This woman that was there, she bought a CD for, I don't know how much I was selling them, $5 or less. She took one and gave it to her friend who was in the music business as a manager, but he had just started working for this thing called, that nobody had heard of, that was called Apple iTunes. Oh, yeah. And he was like part of the programming squad that was putting all that together. He took it, called me over to his house and said, I'm developing this thing, and it was just all going over my head. I was like, what? People are going to just buy songs, but then you can't have it? It's just on the computer? Like, he's like, yeah, it's like a legal Napster or LimeWire. And I said, okay. And then he sent the CD that he had, that his friend gave him, he sent it to a radio DJ in Los Angeles at KCRW, and that guy started playing it immediately.
Really?
Immediately.
It's so strange to see when DJs actually have the right to play music, because most of them have playlists and they have to play off that playlist.
I saw that more and more and more as I started visiting radio stations around the country. I saw less and less walls covered in like racks of CDs, and more computers with a screen that had just a bunch of titles on them, highlighted in yellow and blue, and what's coming up, ad break. And
it's the thing that's killed me in our industry is I liked it better when we were all independent. And because then you could get in some great fights. Yeah. You know what I mean? Now,
fights?
Yeah.
Fights like, with who?
Gary and I were always at odds because Gary had the coach house, I had this. And then now we're partners because whatever I book, he books. And it was strange for me to realize in training my new box office manager, Brady, that I explained to him like how we affect the entire United States because we've chosen you. There's a lot of people. Like I've copied the 930 Club in D.C. Mm-hmm. And there's like 20 concert venues around the United States that just copy what we do. Our lineup is what they book. And it's funny because you think to yourself that Boogie Nights is we do tribute bands and we do them as filler because our goal is to book a reasonably priced music and entertainment. Mm-hmm. And if that doesn't work, we just throw in a tribute band.
Yeah. Sometimes the same night. I've played shows in cities where like got to get off stage now. A tribute band's coming on.
I learned
there's
that
a line around the block for it.
I learned that one lesson with Mark Cohn, and he told me very nastily to never do that, and he refused to get off the stage because I booked a tribute band behind him trying to make extra money.
Yeah,
it didn't work.
Well, but from your perspective, you're like, I've got the bartenders already. I've got the
it
house
makes
staff
sense
already. Let's just stack it up, you know.
And then Mark Cohn did not take that kindly at all. And I realized I never did that again. We've never done that because it just came off really badly. So and the crazy thing is that my daughter's favorite thing is Grey's Anatomy, and your music has been on Grey's Anatomy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it's a big part of my story, actually. I'll tell you, like, that was another big thing that happened for me was I put that first album out and started working on my next couple of albums. And that was at the time where in Los Angeles, there was this music venue called the Hotel Cafe. It's still around, but they just closed their doors, I think, because they're moving somewhere. But it was a real folky singer-songwriter scene that I haven't really seen in Los Angeles since then. But in terms of the zeitgeist, it wasn't just in Hollywood. It was happening also in New York with, I forget the name of the Living Room was the name of one venue.
Did you ever play the Bluebird Cafe?
I've never played there, no. But in Hollywood with the Hotel Cafe, there were so many singer-songwriters that would just hang out there and jump up on stage at any given night and play shows there. And it was like this hub of great thinkers and writers of music that were sort of being competitive with each other, giving each other ideas, creating a community, drinking, getting drunk all the time, just jumping up on stage, playing with each other. And because that was such a rich experience for all those people, including the audience members that were there, a bunch of DJs and people who have jobs where they put music on the TV shows, music supervisors, they call them, they would either be hanging out there as well or would just kind of keep their ear to the ground around there. And there were all these shows at the time that were being created out of Los Angeles, written and directed, and all the actors that were in them. There was this whole movement of TV shows on big networks that were looking for the kind of music that people were making from that Hotel Cafe scene. And Scrubs, Grey's Anatomy, all those doctor shows, and then later like Parenthood, This Is Us, those types of shows, all I think were inspired by what was coming out of the Hotel Cafe. And I was really lucky. I wasn't a regular patron there. I didn't have my own bar stool, but I would be there a lot. And I was lucky to be there at that time because it launched.
What song was on Grey's Anatomy? Do you remember? Or was it multiple songs?
Multiple songs. Yeah. I remember, though, on my second album, there was a bunch of songs that were on that show. Oh, there was another one with Anne Hesh, another show. I forget which show that was.
Because back then it was Shonda Rhimes that was just writing everything.
Crushing them all, yeah. Right. But I remember there was a scene, and I have a song called There Is So Much More, which I named the album after, and it's just a song about, like, what is my place in this world? There's no chorus to it. There's not a lot of hook or melody to it. It's kind of very reflective, and they used that song in this crazy scene about a stillborn baby in the middle of the night. And I remember watching it just being blown away, like, wow, like, music interpretation can be anything.
Wow.
That has nothing to do with the song that I wrote, but somehow they have everything to do with each other.
And you and I have something else in common. We both went to Y Camp.
Yeah.
And that's where you learned to play guitar?
Yeah, I had noodled with guitar a little bit before that because my grandmother gave me a guitar, but it was at camp when there'd be a camp counselor every night in front of the fire singing a Neil Young or a John Denver
song. So this
song.
was not like a rock and roll camp. This was just a YMCA camp.
It was run out of the YMCA in Modesto, which is gone now.
Yeah.
The building is, I don't know what it is, condos now. But they owned the lease for a camp up in the Sierra Nevada, up on Sonora Pass, near Yosemite. Big, beautiful site with all this granite, natural granite amphitheaters and a river.
Wow.
And every night there'd be a big fire, and we'd just be singing songs in front of the fire. And there'd be 4 or 5 counselors with their guitars up there, just strumming, and everybody, all the kids, all the
now
counselors
you have to do
singing.
ghost songs.
What?
Because you're sitting around a campfire, you tell the ghost stories, and you should do ghost songs.
Oh,
That should be one of your songs.
you know what? We didn't really do ghost stories at Y Camp. No. What a missed opportunity.
Oh, my favorite thing in the world, I was that jerk that would hide in the woods and sneak up on you. I got joy out of that beyond, and I think I was punched at least a dozen times by the camp counselors.
Did you have pranking at your camp?
Yeah.
We did that. That was a big thing. We'd like go to bed, and then we'd wake up in the middle of the night and go prank one of the girl counselors or something, steal her in her sleeping bag, and or take her whole bed and carry it into a meadow. And
That's what we would do, and
we
would take the floating things and float them out into the water, because that was a scene in one of the movies that they floated them out into water. Anything we saw, we would do. And as dangerous it was. And I think about that. They would take a bunch of 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-year-olds and put them out in the middle of the wilderness.
Yeah, that's what we did. We would do that. We would take, in the middle of a week, we would go on a 2 or 3 night backpacking trip.
Right, and you slept there.
Yeah.
And if you were gone, you were gone.
Yep.
And we were out there with bears, mountain lions, all kinds of stuff.
Bears would often come and eat all our food.
And I remember we would watch the bears break into cars, and we thought it was really entertaining. And we all had to take the garbage out, and that's where the bears were. We had to lock down your garbage.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And it's funny because I know Todd Rundgren because he had his studio in Woodstock and the entire time growing up. Do you have a studio in your house now?
No, I have a writing studio and it's a writing and art studio, but I've never been a gear junkie guy.
Really?
I think mostly because I just don't like staring at a screen all the time. I'm more like I like to write with a guitar or a pen and a paper, or I actually do a lot of my writing without an instrument around, just in my head, and then I go and find it on the guitar later.
Really? Yeah. So your process, you come up with the words first or the music first?
It just depends. Usually it's an idea for a lyric that comes to me encapsulated in a melody, in a rhythm.
Really?
And then
so it comes as a package already.
Yeah. And then it's up to me to just try to like expand off of it, I guess.
That's crazy.
I've never done the thing where you start a session in Pro Tools or Logic and you start with a beat and play guitar and then build it like that. I've never written that way, and I just don't think I can.
How many people in your band?
It just depends. I'm going to do a gig this weekend as a trio. Last week I did a gig as a 4-piece. I've had as many as 5 people in my band, and then I do a lot of shows
just sitting you what's on stage
and a guitar. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do at the Canyon Club. I'm doing it's like a singer-songwriter folk show, just me and a guitar, and I'll bring a bunch of big paintings.
Do you explain what you were thinking when you wrote the songs?
I'm trying to do that on this tour that I'm on. It's called the Art is Life Tour, and I have a bunch of paintings, and I sing songs with the paintings, and then I ask for requests from the audience, and I ask them why they're requesting that song. And then that sparks a dialogue between myself and the audience.
Here's the business end of me. Do you actually sell those paintings when you're there?
Sometimes, but I usually sell them after the tour because I need them. I need them on tour.
I know, but let me give them to me ahead of time. I'll make lithographs for you.
Oh yeah,
so people can actually get them and you can sign them. I think I remember when I used to do Frank Sinatra. We always had a comedian out front. We always had some other. It wasn't another musician.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I love the art / what you do. And I think it's so interesting because I find you're the complete package. You can do it on your own or you can do it in a 5 or 7-piece band.
And they're both different, and I love them both equally. Like if it's just me on stage, then I can play or attempt to play any song, and I can tell or recall any story or say anything that I feel compelled to say. Whereas with a band, you can't really do that because you're more locked into what you've rehearsed with the band, and you have a set list that you've thought about ahead of time that you're like, all right, we'll build it up, and then we'll drop it down, and then we'll play with the dynamics. Whereas when I go on stage by myself, it's more about trying to be intimate and really, really connecting with the audience and taking requests and telling stories. Whereas a band, I want to get people like in a really good mood and have them leave there feeling inspired in a different way. And when I'm doing one thing, I always want to do the other thing. And when I'm with a band, I'm like, oh, I can't wait to get back out to just me on stage, or vice versa. Or I'm up there with just a guitar. It's like, oh, I really wish I could just be making people dance right now. They're both great and they're both different.
Yeah, no, and I agree with that, because for me, why I do what I do is when I ran a company called House of Blues, I remember standing on stage, looking out past you as a performer and watching the crowd. And I got 1/10 of what you get. Like, you're the one creating that smile. I'm the one enjoying it. Know that indirectly I enabled to put you in front of them.
Yeah.
And it really is something that is very liberating. But my brain always goes back to, how do I make more money? How do I bait and switch? How do I get the next level? Because I look at you and see someone who's so talented, and how do we get them to come? I can't imagine anybody coming to your show and not walking away going, oh my goodness, that guy is amazing.
They're always happy unless something, like one time I did a double header, which I probably don't think I should ever do again. I did a double header show in Maryland, and I was like, let's just loosen. I told the band, I was like, let's loosen up a little bit for the second show. Let's have a few and just go up there and see what happens. And I guess I went off on some rants. And people were like, we came to hear music, not listen to you talk about whatever you're mad at. So
it's funny.
Other than that, though,
I
typically, I'm all. It's not that I'm trying to please people. What I try to do, no matter what the stage is, no matter what the venue, I try to find at least one moment in the night where everybody's on the same page, feeling like they're connected. I don't know how to do it. I just know it when it happens. Like, it could be during a song. Could be everybody singing along to a chorus. Could be a moment where I'm just singing and you could hear a pin drop. Could be a moment where piano player's taking a ridiculous solo that just, where did that come from, kind of thing. I just look for those moments and try to, like, when everybody's on the same page, you can really feel something magical happen. That's the aim, no matter what, no matter where I am, is to have at least one of those a night. But that's been my goal for the last 5 years or so. But now I'm thinking more about, I've done this long enough and I want to keep doing it. So what's my goal now? Now my goal is I want everyone in the house to feel like a real sense of love. I want every song I play, every interaction with an audience member, my delivery, the way I relate to them, I want everyone to walk out of there feeling like, well, for one thing, that just felt like a love fest. Like,
yeah, and I guess you make people feel good. And the crazy thing is, your last album, is that the one you wrote about your dad?
Yeah.
And what happened and what exuded when you say you wrote about your dad? What does that mean?
Well, he died unexpectedly, and I was in the middle of working on an EP that was about to come out. And then after that EP, I had songs lined up to record for a different album, and I just sort of pushed all those songs away and said, this happened just now. I want to write. This is an opportunity to write something that feels really...
And it's cathartic for you. It makes you feel better.
Exactly. And so I just threw myself headfirst into grief. And I'm lucky because I didn't write a sad album. I wrote an album that was more of a celebration of life.
And that's the crazy thing is, I realize as I get older, what a great life I've had. If someone told me what would you change? Would you change anything?
I would, yeah. I was having this conversation yesterday. I would have found a mentor.
Really?
I would have tried to find a mentor that would say, hey, you just keep, do whatever you're doing creatively, double down on that. Listen to your inner voice, be your authentic self. And then on the side, there's a couple decisions that you can make in your personal life, your financial life, thinking about the future. stow some money away.
That's always a byproduct.
Be a little bit more thoughtful on the things you purchase or where you live. I think that would have been cool. But otherwise, every other thing I've done has led me to where I am. And
I believe the same thing. And we're going to be back right after these messages with Brett. And you have a show coming up at the Canyon Club.
I do. It's an Art is Life show.
And this is amazing, and this is what we're talking about, and we'll be right back after these messages. And welcome back. We're here with Brett Dennen, and he's going to perform some music. Explain what you're going to perform.
I just thought I would play. When I was driving here, I thought, am I going to play a song? If I play a song, what should I? And I just chose this one. It's called See the World. And it came out a few years ago. And I liked it when I wrote it, but lately I've just been enjoying, the lyrics have grown on me so much more. They just seem more relevant to me now. It started out as a song that was somewhat of a letter to my son when he was super young.
Wow.
But now I realize it's not so much, it's that, but it's more about me just talking about what I think life is.
That's amazing, because all of us, like, I don't know what life is, and I can tell you I'm living it, and the only thing I've learned, just enjoy the ride. And what was that? Wasn't that like a Toyota commercial or something? Enjoy the ride? That's what it is. Who was the guy we had on who said he turned around and he was opening for the Beatles? Herman's Hermits. Peter Noon said he looked around and his band wasn't having fun. So he got a band that had fun. Kind of like what you said. Let's do the second show and get a little crazy.
I've been in that position before where amazing things are happening all around me, and I haven't really taken it in and enjoyed the moment and been super grateful. I don't know if I took it for granted. I don't know if I go that far, but I maybe didn't savor every moment, because that's just something that you don't do when you're super young, and you have to kind of.
And it happens when you're old too, because sometimes you're in a situation where I'm sitting across from, you name the artist, Elton John, and I'm sitting across from him, and it dawns on me like, I'm sitting across from Elton John. Oh my goodness gracious! Because I think of myself when I see Todd Rundgren, I see you. I guess I see you as people. Where your fans don't see you as people. You're this idol that they hold up.
Yeah.
And their expectations of you sometimes are diluted.
Yeah, I went to a party once, and Tom Petty was there, and I had a zillion opportunities to talk to him and tell him how much I loved him, and I didn't do it, and I kick myself all the time. Like, I don't care if he would have said, like, yeah, that's great.
Can you
get out of the way?
Tom Petty came to see Otmar Liebert. Did you ever hear that story? And he goes, I would come out more often, except everybody knows who I am. Yeah. And Otmar looked at him and said, take off the hat.
Was he wearing like the
big Van
the one from the Mad Hatter Tea Party? Right.
So
come around here no more.
and I got into a big fight with him, right, with Otmar Liebert, because for some reason my green room wasn't. My food and green room wasn't up to par. So let's hear a song.
Okay. Here it goes. It's called See the World. Where you going, my brown-eyed son? You used to crawl, but now you run. You started off on a road half dark, and the river cruised into a question mark. We sleep on diamond beaches, dear, and drink from prism streams so clear. You don't have to be rich to get around. There are mansions growing out of the ground. Teach goodbye, get out and see the world. Teach goodbye. Get out and see the world with your own eyes. Now the journey took you far from home, and it pushed you out of your comfort zone. There's kids out there with war paint on, and hearts break like crayons. Before you left, the world was small. Now the hills are bleeding like waterfalls. There's a lot of bad things that are very shallow, and cries for help with no echoes. Days go by, get out and see the world. Days go by, get out and see the world with your own eyes. It's hard to see what you're going through, and just knowing can beat up on you. You'll spend some time in the waiting place, and the purest things may leave no trace. Go up the mountaintop and shine. I will reflect it on my long decline. I gathered sunsets in my prime. Now I'm planting trees I'll never climb. Never climb. Days go by, get out and see the world. Days go by, get out and see the world with your own eyes. Your own eyes. Your own eyes. Your own eyes.
I am absolutely a fan. That's amazing. And to listen to those words and now put it together with your son, because all I could think of was my grandson.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, my grandson just turned 1 year old. And like that wonderment that you captured by talking about what he's going to experience in his life. It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, that's good then. That means it's
You hit. That hit
it's
a home run.
universal. The theme is universal.
But the way you sang that like came from your heart. And how do you
Yeah,
sing
well,
someone else's words? Like that's your words.
Yeah, but I think, I don't know. I guess if they're true, anyone can sing them. Like, it's true. Like, he was learning to crawl when I first had the idea for the song. And I was just, where you going, my brown-eyed son? And then I was like, used to crawl, now you run or something. And then I had that idea for a long time. And I just sat with it, and I never finished it. It took a couple years. And then
So he was a couple
in.
years by the time you finished the song.
Yeah, that's what I do a lot. I'll get an idea, and it'll sound like a song, and so.
Do you have a bunch of notebooks all over the place?
Oh gosh, dude! I used to. Now it's like the phone is
Oh, yeah.
filled with like the Notes app and the voice memo app is just filled with ideas, and
But that's what
just,
Peter Tilden told me, that next to his bed he used to sleep and then wake up, and it used to be write stuff down. Now he just records it.
Yeah, because I think for me, I rely a lot on spontaneity and ideas that just come and they feel like they come out of nowhere.
Well, I love
and
the
that
fact-
happens all the time. So I got to record them or write them down, and then even if I never turn them into a song, but if I go back a year later and I say, oh, that's still a good idea. Or if that little melody is still stuck in my head every once in a while, it'll pop back in. Then I'll think, oh, okay, that's worth finishing.
And normal people aren't like that. You're like that.
I don't think so. I don't really know, but I might disagree with you because I think, like you were telling me about the way you think of square roots and things like that, that's accessing a part of your brain that just happens. I don't know if it's a subconscious thing, but it just happens.
Someone a long time ago when I was in college, they told me how your brain is mapped. And I took that to heart, where if you can remember, like if you remember one thing about your youth, now you're in an area of your brain where if you can go back there, you can remember everything.
Yeah.
And people don't realize is even as children. What's your son's name?
Van.
Yeah,
Van the man.
Van the man. Yeah. You got to do it. Yeah, because it's funny. My grandson is William, but if you call him Billy, holy moly.
Holy moly, he doesn't like it?
No, he doesn't like the mom. No one cares what you and I want. The moms are the people you don't cross.
My son is not a Billy sort of thing. Yeah. Then why'd you name him Willie? William. Does she like Willie?
I think she's German, so I think she likes Prince William. Oh. So I think that's where she got the name. But it's funny, I'm named after a football player. Are you named after anybody?
Nope.
So they just saw you when you were born and said,
I guess.
That looks like a Brett.
I don't know. I think it was just a name they liked.
That funny?
My Van is definitely after Van Morrison. I wouldn't say, I'm not saying like, I'm going to name my son after Van Morrison, but I love Van Morrison.
Well, Van Morrison is famous
cool
because he never conformed to what people expected him to do. He kind of played his own thing.
He's the ultimate #1 badass.
I agree with you.
Right.
But we're the weird ones. Other people don't even know one song he sang. It's kind of like when they would say to us, remember when B.B. King would play all the time and all these famous people would come up and play with him?
Yeah.
And we would get yelled at constantly. Who was the one that used to come up and play? Are they dead yet?
Kenny Wayne came up and played with them once.
Who?
Kenny Wayne.
Oh, no, but Kenny, I appreciate. I'm talking about the actor, the Kung Fu guy.
Oh, Seagal?
Yeah, Peter came up, and we had to give like 100 refunds because he sat on stage with him for 2 hours talking, and Peter can't play as well as.
He just said, I want to talk to you. Are you talking about Steven Seagal?
Yeah, he went on stage and he
just wanted to talk to B.B. King?
Yeah, and he thought everybody there to see the B.B. King concert would enjoy that.
Oh. Yikes.
Not. So we're not going to have any of that. I'm excited to talk about what you did because now you're doing your artwork.
So, yeah, the concept for this show is I do a bunch of big paintings. They won't be watercolor. They'll be acrylic on canvas. So they'll serve as a backdrop behind me. But then I'll have an easel next to me, and I'll bring in between a song. This show's in 2 sets. The first set, in between each song, I'll bring a painting from the back to the front. And I'll play a song with it, with a prompt that's like, what do you see in the painting that reminds you of the song? And, does hearing the song make you look at the painting a certain way? Does looking at this painting make you think of the song? Like,
well, I want to ask you the chicken and the egg. Which came first, the song or the painting?
The song. Definitely the song. Because I do new paintings for every tour. And then the second set is a creative way to get requests in from the audience as well as get interaction to spark a discussion. So people will take a card, write their name and their song request on a card and tell a little story about why they want that song or like what they see in a painting about that song.
Didn't we do that with Smokey Robinson? That everybody filled out a questionnaire and he would pull the question out and pull the person up on stage with him.
Well, I have pulled... I don't pull everybody up on stage, but I've pulled some people. They'll be like, I think this song goes with that painting, and we got married to this song. And
wow.
I was like, come on up here and dance. Or I buried my dad to this song. Or whatever. There's all sorts of stories. So it's a way for me to, that always sparks a conversation that usually goes into the realm of how I wrote the song, what I was going through, what I think I like about the song, and we talk, and then we try to tie it into the music, to the paintings, and it's always a different show because there's different songs every night. There's different people every night, and it's my way of proving that that it's not just a band up on stage playing a show. It's the venue and the people that are there that really make the show. And I actually wanted to interject earlier when you were talking and say you were talking about being at the House of Blues and looking out over the performer and looking at the crowd and the joy that they're feeling. Like, it's not just the band on stage, it's the people being there willing to participate, and it's the venue and the staff that works on it's everybody involved. We're trying to reach something where we can prove that we're all connected and we're all having a shared experience, and that we're all like relevant people having a very specific human experience that I think ultimately, like I said before, is about love and should be a celebration of love.
Well, remember, Casey Kasem said that where music is a soundtrack of our life. And when you play a song, immediately I go back to my grandson, or I go back to my dad, because like you wrote an entire album, but you wrote it and then your dad passed away. So the meaning of it meant something to you after he passed away.
Right.
And that's the crazy thing, because I think in my life, my dad is still alive. But my mom, my sister, my brother, everybody else has passed on. And I'm the crazy one. You can tell. I was the one that did drugs. I was the one that drank too much. I was the one that was running around with motorcycles and cars. And yet God saw fit to leave me alone and took everybody else.
Oh.
Which is kind of a heavy
Do you
feeling.
think that that's because you embody the idea that life is the ultimate gift and it's meant to be lived?
I believe I have to justify it myself saying that the good die young. And since I'm not the good one, I'll be around for a long time. Because my son...
I find that hard to believe. You're not the good one?
Well,
What does
I
that
mean,
mean?
everybody... Well, like my sister was a saint.
Okay.
And my brother was, my brother was the kid that everybody would meet him. His name was Bradford Sterling. And they go, wow, you're like a movie star. And then they meet me and they go, Lance Sterling, I expected you to look different. And I never knew how to take that.
Oh, do you think that they fulfilled their purposes on Earth, maybe?
Yeah, and that's what I think happens is like my son Zeke, who was adopted, but I think that he was such a good kid and he meant so much to so many people that God took him because he was done, and I'm not done yet.
Interesting. There's one of my songs from the last album has a line that says, people come into our lives to teach us what we can't learn on our own. Then they go to teach somebody else and leave us alone to grow.
Wow.
So it's that kind of thing.
So what's going on with your camp now? Is it your camp?
No, I don't own the land. We're doing it at this really cool camp in Pennsylvania called
Well, it's
Camp
a family thing, right? Because
Starlight.
your wife's involved, you're
And
involved.
Myself and my family, and then a bunch of awesome people are just going to show up at this camp and take it over for a weekend before it turns into a full-on summer camp.
That's very
So
cool.
we get to have all the summer camp fun before camp.
So how do the people get to go to that? Is it already pre-bought, or there's spots available?
I mean, I suppose we could take a few more people. I mean, sure, why not? We've all...
And I think about that.
I think, yeah, we'll take more people. Like, we have our people are registered, but the camp is humongous, so we could definitely take more people. That would actually be
And
awesome.
do they have the cabins and everything?
You get a cabin if you want your own private cabin, or they have bunk houses, like camp style. So if you want to go on the cheap, you can go.
What was that movie? Meatballs?
Mm-hmm.
That's funny. How close to Meatballs is it?
Nowhere near. I mean, there's lakes and canoes and mess halls and archery and all that stuff, but there's no debauchery.
Well, that's the
clean.
funniest thing I always tell people. Like, those camps are filled with like 6 to 11-year-olds. They're not a bunch of 18-year-old hot girls, according to the Friday the 13th franchise. That's not what's happening. So in there. So you're on stage. You have all your paintings, and then the second one you're bringing it up, and then you're talking about the painting and the feeling.
Yeah. Let's say I have a painting that is really simple and but has really striking colors, but the composition is really simple. I'll try to pair that with a song that I think fits that. Maybe it's a more spiritual song, maybe it's a really simple song, or maybe it's a song that doesn't have a ton of lyrics and it's more about a mood. And it's kind of an experiment. Every song, every night, every show is an experiment.
So
to
when
see
you're
how
painting, are you listening to that music?
No.
So when you're in painting, you're just completely in your
I never
head.
listen to my own music. No, I might listen to music. I might listen to the radio. I might be listening to a podcast or a book on tape.
Right.
It's just more about painting until I like what I've painted, and then I'm done. And then I try to match it with a song.
Who's your favorite painter?
Helen Frankenthaler was a painter on the East Coast. She lived in New York City. I think she grew up in upstate New York, maybe near Rochester or somewhere around there. I could be wrong, or at least she went to college up there. But she was part of the abstract expressionism movement, famous for people like Robert Motherwell, whom she married. Mark Rothko was part of that movement. Jackson Pollock, part of that movement. Clifford Still was sort of.
Who was the guy that got cut his ear off?
That's Vincent van Gogh.
Vincent van Gogh.
He was much earlier, generations earlier, Dutch painter that was one of the guys that started Impressionism.
Because isn't Vincent after him? And I guess I just found out Vincent van Gogh never knew he was famous, never knew that he made any money.
He only sold one painting while he was
crazy?
alive.
And you knew that too.
And
I just found that out.
Yeah.
Like, you think Vincent van Gogh, he's the most famous painter out there in my mind. And then Starry, Starry Night. And then that's the first time I found out that he never really was famous when he was alive.
I mean, I think you're right. I think there were people who really liked what he was doing, but I think it all happened so fast, and he committed suicide so early that if he would have waited just a little bit longer, he could have enjoyed.
Yeah, and it's funny because it's almost that would have ruined the entire story.
Yeah,
if he actually
probably
was around long enough to enjoy himself.
Mm-hmm.
And because everybody knows him as a tortured soul,
Very
and
tortured.
his paintings showed that he was a tortured soul. What's that one he has, a ghost or something?
Mm-hmm.
And
ghosts, and he was really into painting weathered, gnarly things, not necessarily like just stand on the most beautiful corner in Paris. He would find like the workers and the people who would dig coal or harvest potatoes. He'd paint them like gnarly roots and just like, just a little room that's dimly lit. And he found the beauty in that, and he painted very fast, and he was very tormented, and he used lots of brush strokes to somehow reflect the movement that was kind of like the chaos in his brain.
Well, that's the crazy thing, because I look at you care about everything on their experience in your concert. And I feel the same way. Like, I put trivia on the thing. I make sure that it looks pretty. I make sure that it looks loungy. I hate banquet furniture, what music you're listening to. And I can tell my managers think I'm a Looney Tune. Because everything matters to me, because to me it's an overall image. When you walk into the building, how did we make you feel? Mm-hmm. And I remember we used to do like really high-end food. Like, I would give you filet and ribeye and all of this food. And then I found out, you know what? People don't care. They just want to eat. Uh-huh. And they just want to have a drink. And they just want to have fun. Yeah. And if you get out of the way, they will do that. Mm-hmm. And I get to provide fun. Mm-hmm. When you're playing, when Brett's on stage playing, this is going to be an experience that I know everybody will leave here going like, I may have not been a fan before, but I'm a fan now.
Yeah. That's a really good way to look at it. I always say that about people's weddings, like, because I've been to so many weddings. I've played at so many. I've been an attendee. And people will spend so much money on their perfect day, the arrangements and the decor and all that, the food, the band.
Right.
I'm going to spend however many thousands and thousands of dollars on the wedding band. And I always say it's like all you need for a good party is just a playlist. You don't need a live band.
That's
You just need a
true.
playlist. Just play Motown's greatest hits. Everybody likes Motown. You can dance to it, sing all the songs. Doesn't matter what the food is, just as long as like it keeps coming. There's lots of it.
Do you
And
think
it's
concerts
free.
are gonna? You think concerts? Because I remember during the pandemic, they were trying to convince me that concerts were done and everybody was going to watch concerts on the internet, and I was like, no, they're not. But millions and billions of dollars were spent down that route, where in reality, nothing can replace coming to see you live. And I guess that's a statement. That's not a question, but I do.
I think it's a good thing to remember in any phase we are in, like the technology that's here and the technology that's imminent or the technology that's further down the road. I think knowing that the live music experience where it's truly live, like the people are actually playing instruments for real and singing for real, not to discount the bands that go up there and have more of a produced show where like computers and stuff
Right.
like that are involved too. That's also amazing and more of a spectacle. But I think just the live show in general that's more stripped down, I think that will always survive
and
because it's a human experience.
And my crazy thing, what I'm getting to, is I think coming to your show, I guarantee anybody who comes to your show is going to leave a fan. Because after talking to you and hearing your music, I realize you're a musician's musician.
Yeah.
Other musicians probably love to listen to you because your songs say something and you write your songs, and and we are honored to have you play the Canyon Club because at some point in time you're really talented guy. Oh my God.
Well, I've always wanted to play the Canyon Club, and this has
Right.
been my first opportunity because I've never even been inside, but I've always heard stories that it's like just a legendary place where like you go see whomever and like Paul McCartney's just hanging out.
Isn't that funny? That's probably pretty true.
Well, there's another place. There's a place on the East Coast in Amagansett that's called the Stephen Talk House. That's like one of my favorite places to play.
Yeah, it's funny
it's
because
that kind of place.
I looked up there and who was the guy from Beatles? What was the Beatles? Came with his wife at the time with the one leg, Paul McCartney. Yeah. And I remember the only reason I knew he was there, I had to build a ramp to get her up to VIP. Oh, wow. And outside of that, you don't know. Kelsey Grammer's there all the time. Dave Grohl's there all the time. All these people. Who else?
Oh, Brad Garrett.
Right, and
Yeah,
so
Brad
it's not
Garrett.
like I don't want to go just so I can celebrity site, but it's more like a place like that. If these people are going there to hang out, to see if if they want to see live music and they're choosing the Canyon Club or the Stephen Talk House or wherever it may be, it's because of the vibe in there. It's because of the quality of the music and the people that go there, and whatever the venue is doing, they're doing it right.
And Brett, thank you for coming in, and thank you so much. This has been Where Music Meets the Soul, and we'll see you next week. Thank you so much.